Hi everybody, it's Witchy Weed Wednesday, and here I am in a nice solid mat of the ground growth form of poison ivy. So this is one of the two ways you'll see this plant. You'll either get a really large hairy vine that we're going to go looking for here in a few minutes, or you're going to get these little guys. And something to notice, of course, if you remember that old mnemonic of leaves of three, leave me be, they come out of a central stem and go out into 3-leaf clusters. These are often confused with box elder, and if I can find one of those, I'll show you that in this video as well. The difference is that box elder, as it ages and gets larger, will get more leaves on the petioles. So again, that's that big stem coming out of that central stem that holds the 3 leaflets up. That will get more than 3 leaves on it as the plant matures, whereas poison ivy will only get 3-leaf clusters, and each new set of leaves will come off of its own set. You won't have more leaves add underneath the 3. So that can help you distinguish the two apart. Otherwise, they look, in their very young form, very similar to each other. So this is how this stays. This will not mature and become ivy. This will just stay as this blanket, as this carpet of hot mess. And you can see on this one, if I can zoom in a little, is it going to let me? There we go. But again, there's the axial placement. These were about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, tiny little white or green flowers. Now they're green berries, and as they mature, they will turn white, and those are your indicators of poison ivy. And once again, I'll repeat, when things grow in the axial and the armpit placement, thinking of that central stem, if you can see it, as the body, and the petiole here as the arm, it's like the armpit of the plant has the fruit and the flowers. And if you're not 100% certain as to what species you're looking at or what plant it is, if you see that fruit or flower placement, just don't touch it. Basically all, with the exception of the Umbelliferae, the Apiaceae family that has giant hogsbane and all that mess in it. All of your bad plants that you're going to find in Michigan have that armpit flower and fruit arrangement. So these are actually the kind of poison ivy that get people in trouble, because there's this myth that goes around that you can spread poison ivy to another person, and that's actually, people are going to try to argue this with me, it's not true. You don't mutate and begin to produce the skin irritating oil that causes the poison ivy rash. The oil in question is called urtisol, and the problem with urtisol is and I'm going to have to, walk through this, the oils are going to live on my clothes for up to 7 days. And also if you get it on your skin, it will live until you wash it with a soap capable of removing oil. And so what can happen is that you come home and you brush up against your friend and it transfers from your skin onto their skin. It has to transfer from your dog onto you because dogs have thick fur and don't tend to get poison ivy. It can transfer from my shoes or my pants onto my couch and then onto my person. It can transfer from my hand onto toilet paper and into very bad spots of my body. Which is why I always tell people, whenever you come in from hiking or herbing, even if you don't think that you touched poison ivy, you always need to change and shower before you do anything else. Because chances are, look at how hidden this stuff is. It's over there in the middle of all that grapevine. So this is the second, well, there's 2 of 3 of the most common vines you're going to see here in Michigan, and I'll show you the other one in this video if I can find it here in this park. And this guy over here is grape. They have those nice serrated heart-shaped leaves and the curly tendrils rather than something to climb. Grape does not have a ground growth form like this. Grape is always a vine. And here it is, doing what it does, which is it will grow up and suffocate anything that it can climb up. And it will eventually get grapefruit clusters when it gets to be large enough, and if it gets pollinated, all those important things. But these poison ivy and grape are 2 of the most common vines you're going to see. The third being creeper, which is palmately leaved. So it will be really signature, and it also grows, oh, here it is. So here is some creeping, no, it's not. Here is some creeping Virginia creeper, and this is the leaf structure that you're going to see for this. And these are often found together. This isn't really surprising at all. And this plant actually can be brewed into a tincture that can cure the rash that poison ivy causes. So it's interesting that you frequently see them together, and that this plant cures the problem that this creates. And you'll see, this one has it really strongly, how they have those right-handed thumbs on the leaves. That's a really big ID characteristic. Usually they're more like this. They're much less pronounced. But you still see that little thumb kind of coming off of the side over here. That is how you can tell that you're dealing with poison ivy. So this is a really tame version of the vine structure for poison ivy. There's a big vine back there, but I'm pretty sure that's grape. So usually when you see vines like this and they peel a lot, it usually means that that was a grapevine. I've seen quite a few big vines as I was walking, but I think they might actually be spraying for some of these larger vines because none of them are alive. But this is most definitely poison ivy. It's climbing up this little oak tree here, and you can see again that 3-leaf structure with that right thumb poking out of the outward 2 leaves. And something really important to note, if I can get you to see it, is that, do you see those little hairs right there? Poison ivy vines are extremely hairy, so even when it's spring and you can't really see, clothes are going to go right in the wash when I get home. Yeah, that's a really good view of it. Even when you can't really see for sure what the leaves look like, if you see a really hairy vine growing on your property, the chances are very, very good that you're looking at a poison ivy vine. And as I mentioned earlier, here, intermixed with ground form poison ivy is more of that Virginia creeper. It's hand-shaped 5 leaflet leaves. And there it is growing up along the tree. And mostly in the ground form, it'll get these little blueberries that look like blueberries, but they're not. And they're actually poisonous. Not to the point where if you eat a handful that you're going to die, but it might upset your stomach. And so here are all 3 of the vines you really commonly see growing in the upper Midwest, all growing together. There's a Virginia creeper, there's the grape growing with poison ivy, and poison ivy on 2 trees. And these usually, fairly commonly, coexist in the same habitat, and this is all the growth forms of these guys. And Virginia creeper, like poison ivy, does have a ground growth form. So you will see it just kind of how it is down here, where it's just running along the ground right alongside poison ivy. And there's our friend mullein growing along here too. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. If I can find some box elder, I will include it in the video. I might have to copy and paste it from a different location, but I wanted you to see these so you knew what to look out for while you're walking. And again, whenever you come home, if you've been herbing or hiking, just take a minute to stop and wash your clothes and take a shower, because again, the oils from these live up to 7 days away from the plant, and they can still cause that awful, really irritating rash throughout that period, and it can still continue to be transferred and picked up from one surface to another. So just don't take the risk, right? Alright, thanks guys. Bye.